just now we read about the digging. Now we will be reading about we will be studying about the instruments which we use which are used for the digging. So, instruments used for digging. Okay. Now, just remember what we were doing, like I will just write over here. We were discussing about the first step, digging. Okay, this was the step of what? Preparation of soil. Preparation of soil. Okay, this was the first step. And this is the A part, digging. Then we have to read leveling and then manuring. Okay. So, this be in your mind, like what we are doing. Okay. Preparation of soil, we read about digging, what is digging, why digging has to be done. Now we are reading which instruments has to be used for digging. Okay. So, digging can be done by 3 instruments. Okay. Now, first can be the plough, B, it can be hoe, and C, cultivator. Now, the first when we talk about, now when I say ploughing, it has to be done by plough only. Okay, so now what is it? Actually, see, this is an instrument, or rather we should say which this process is used or is done from the ancient time, years back. Okay. So, this plough can be of 2 types. It can be of wooden and it can be an iron plough. Okay. Now, what actually it is somewhat like, see, these are the 2 ends. You might have seen many a times in many movies, in a few of the songs, like a few of the Manoj Kumar songs, like when he take the what we say hal jotna. Okay. So, this is a very common practice which is very much can be seen in Hindi movies. Okay. So, you might have seen like 2 bulls are there on the top, on the neck of them, a kind of a rod is kept. Okay, wooden this thing block is kept, and it has something like this. Okay, and from here somewhat, not exactly. So, here the bulls are there, on the neck of this the rod is being kept. Okay. So, this can be known as beam. Okay. Now, this is known as plough shaft and this is plowshare. Now, see, this diagram cannot be drawn actually exactly, it can't be shown on the blackboard, but just imagine like the 2 ends of the rod of the wood kept on the 2 bulls' neck. One rod, a long rod comes out of this, and this rod has this one, a pointing end, and this is responsible for digging the soil. Okay. So, this part, okay, this part which is kept on the neck of the bull is known as what? Beam. Just remember to see the Manoj Kumar songs, you will be able to understand this, and even the pictures are given in the textbooks. Like, beam is the part which is kept on the neck of the animals. This is a long rod. Okay, one end is connected to the beam and the other end is connected to that sharp part from which is responsible for the digging of soil. So, this is what? Plough shaft, and this part, this triangular part, this one is triangular part, it is what? Plowshare. Okay. So, this is used to make the soil loose, or to dig the soil, or to plow the soil. Okay, what it is known as, it is common, like how it can be made up of the wood, or it can be made of the iron. Okay, and now see, nowadays so tractors are used, and this thing is used along with the tractor, or even the tractors have some different kind of machines, which we will be discussing in the third one. So this is basically responsible for digging the soil. Okay, so it can be of wooden, it can be of iron. This is the part which is kept on the neck of the, now this is the part which is kept on the neck of the bulls. Okay, these are the bull. Now from here, one that side, one rod comes out, and to this rod, what is there? A triangular shape, a very sharp shape, a triangular area is there, which is responsible for digging of the soil. Okay, so here sometimes the like different animals can be used to plow the field. Okay, now, so now what is this next? For this you have seen at your home also in very normal language, if we talk about. Okay, it is a hand instrument only, and which is used, if I tell you one word, khurpi, which we talk in Hindi, khurpi. Okay, a small thing which we usually use at our garden also, at a little garden also. What is this responsible for? Now this again, it has one handle and a small sharpened area. Now this is a small thing, but is very important, as it removes it digs the soil. Okay, what can be the uses? It digs the soil. Okay, obviously it is removing the weeds also. When we are digging the soil with it, again the weeds comes out. Okay, again the same thing, it becomes aerated. Okay, and now, so this is again a, we can say in Hindi like khurpi, which is used to dig the soil. Again the soil is becoming loose, the weeds are coming out of this, the weeds means what? Unwanted plants, it comes out of the soil. Okay. Now the next one, the third one is like C1 is cultivator. What is cultivator? Okay, this is the modern method. It is what? It is the modern method. Okay, now when I am saying modern method, so obviously it is done with the help of tractors. Okay, and when I am saying it is done by tractors, obviously it a machine, so it is going to save energy, labor and time. Okay, now what is the meaning of cultivator? It is a modern method of digging the soil. It is done with the help of the tractors, and it saves this process. When we dig the soil with the help of the cultivator, it saves the energy, it saves the labor, means mehnat, and it also saves the time. Okay. So what actually cultivator is? Now cultivator is a frame. Okay, it is a frame which is having the sharp edges. Okay, it is having the sharp edges like this, and this part is again connected to the tractor. Okay, this is connected to the tractor. So you all can see it is so piercing, it is very piercing, it is very sharp. So when the tractor drags this, Okay, so what happens automatically, the soil starts get the soil get dug. Okay, the soil get dug, it get loosened, and so again the same points. Okay, so first of all, now to start with, first of all what we are doing, preparation of soil. In this we are talking about only the first one we are talking about digging. Digging means what? To bring the soil, to make the soil, to turn the soil up and down. Okay, why it has to be done? We have read many points why it has to be done. Aeration, hydration, okay, the roots get penetrated, the paste, the weeds comes out, okay, all these points. Now how digging can be done? Digging can be again done by the three instruments. Okay, the first is plough. Now plough is what? It is an instrument which can be made by the wood also, or it can be made by the iron also. How it is? It is a raw, like it is like I told you, hull. Okay, a typical word is hull, which you can see in the movies. A big rod made up of a big log, I should say. Okay, this part is kept on the neck of the animals. A long rod which comes out, this one is known as beam, which is kept on this neck of the animals. The rod which comes out is known as what? Plough shaft, and the part which is responsible for digging the soil is known as what? Plowshare. Okay, now second is hoe. Now what is this? Actually it is known as khurpi, what we call as soon as you like, just imagine the picture of this, how and why it is used. Again, to dig the soil, it digs the soil and weeds comes out. It is a very small but very useful instrument. Now third is cultivator, as we have discussed that this is the new modern method, and as it is a modern method, it is done with the help of the tractors, and obviously it is a time saving, labor saving and energy saving. Now what it is actually, it is made up of a here we can see a iron part. It is having some this kind of piercing edges or points. Okay, now when it is moved, it is connected with the help of the tractor, and when it moves, it digs the soil. Okay, so this was all about the digging, only one part, digging. Now one very important point, if the soil is very hard, if the soil is very like there is no touch of water in that, so even the water can be sprinkled or is sprinkled before digging to make, it's not like the case like totally like the lot of like much amount of water is given to the field. No, just to make it little bit softer, like little amount of water is sprinkled over the field, so that the soil becomes little soft and becomes little easy to dig it. Okay, now we are going to talk about the second part, which is known as leveling. Now when we talk about second part, okay, now I'll rub this instrument used for, first of all they will have to see what is leveling, okay, and what is the use of leveling. Okay, so leveling means what? See, we have like the soil is dug. Okay, now it has to be leveled means what? It has to be it has to be brought up into one layer, one same layer, one surface, equal surface. Okay, it should not be up and down. So just we'll have a look what happens if the leveling is done properly. Okay, so now I am going to talk about leveling. Now what is the meaning of leveling? First I will give you the example of leveling, how it is done, and then it will become very easy to understand that what actually it is happening. See, soil has become loose. Now I keep on petting, and if I press the soil, so what will happen? It will become little compact, and it will compact. So which kind of instrument? About the instrument we will discuss later, but I'll just show you something like this. So it can be pressed. Like what has to be done in the leveling? Nothing but just the soil has to be pressed. Okay. So now, why it is very essential to level the soil? Pressing means what? The soil has to be made, the field has to be at one level. It can't be above at one end and the lower at in between and somewhat like again up at the other end. No. What happens if it is irregular, if the surface is irregular? Okay. What happens if the leveling is not done? The proper sowing can't be done. So, like we will read the advantages of leveling. Okay? So, first can be what? Sowing becomes proper. Okay? Can be irrigated uniformly. Okay. Now, the leveling we are talking about. So, even one more point, soil becomes compact. Soil erosion is prevented. Okay, first we'll read and then we'll go to the next point. Now, sowing becomes proper means, like, what is the meaning of this? Like, if the field is on one level, if the field is not like somewhere it is very up, somewhere it is like at the very low height. So, what will happen? The seeds can't be sown properly. Okay. So, it is at the one level. So, what happens? First of all, the sowing becomes proper. Okay. Now, irrigation. Now, the field is up and down. Suppose the field is up and down. So, what will happen? The place where the field is at good height. Okay. So, what will happen? The water won't be able to, like, water will just flow away from there. And the next point where the field is at very low, so what will happen? The water will get stagnant over there, and again it is very harmful for the crops, and the crops won't be like, the results won't be so good. So, can be irrigated uniformly. If the soil, if the field is at one level, so what will happen? The soil is at one level, the field is at one level, so it can be irrigated uniformly. Now, what happens now? See, if the soil is loose, okay, if the water, when the field is irrigated, what will happen? The top soil gets the top soil flows away. Okay, that means why? Because it is loose. If it is loose, the soil is going to obviously flow away. So, what happens? The soil becomes little compact. Okay, little bit it is pressed. It is at one level. So, it is good. Like, more of water can be absorbed. Okay, and what I can write over here, more of water can be absorbed. Okay. Fifth point is water can be absorbed properly. Water can be absorbed properly. Okay. It won't flow away, but it will be absorbed in the soil. Now, next is soil erosion is prevented. Just now, as we discussed, like, the soil is not free, it is pressed. So, the top soil is prevented and it won't flow. So, these are the various advantages of leveling, why the leveling should be done. Okay. Now, we are going to talk about the instruments. Now, we will talk about the instrument. So, this is the only, like, it can be of the iron, it can be of the wood. Okay. So, it is used to press the soil, not like as we have seen in the digging various instruments are used. So, nothing like that, but just to press the soil, some pressure, like some hard thing, like the pressure is being applied with some hard thing. So, the soil becomes at one level. Okay. So, this was all about the leveling. Now, manuring. Now, even I would like to write a definition of leveling, like what does it mean? Okay. To bring, see, now there is no need for me to explain now, like it is self understood what is the meaning of leveling. To bring the soil at one level, or to make it even. Okay. So, this was what about leveling. Now, what is the meaning of manuring? It means adding of manures and adding of fertilizers. So, when we talk about manuring, I will discuss this later again, but now here in short, manuring or use of fertilizers. Okay. So, as I told you in the beginning, if the soil is very hard, water can be sprinkled. Okay. In the same way, sometimes manure is also added when the soil has to be dug, sorry, so sorry. So, what happens when it is mixed up, when it is spreaded in the beginning only, manure is added in the beginning only. When the manure is added in the beginning, what happens in the process of digging, the manure becomes, like it get mixed up properly with the soil. Okay, like we are putting on the soil. Now, when the soil is becoming loose, okay. So, in the process of digging, what happens? The manure get mixed up very properly with the soil. So, whatever, like no certain extra things we are going to discuss over here, manuring will be discussing when exactly we have to talk about manures and fertilizers. Okay. So, this was all about the preparation of the soil in the beginning, before the seeds are being sown. Now, second topic will be sowing. Okay. Now, when we talk about sowing, the name itself indicates that sowing is what? Nothing but to to put the seeds into the field. Okay. Now, without sowing, if the seeds are not sown, there is no way that you will get the crops. So, even this is very important process.